Why do little characters show up in your videos? What? Do you think Sony will ever adopt crossplay features? Do I think they ever will? Yes. Do I think it's going to be anytime soon or even during this generation? Probably not. Look, crossplay is really cool and awesome. It's great that companies like Microsoft and Nintendo are starting to embrace it, but as for right now, Sony doesn't really have any reason to.
Sony, no baloney.
I mean, yeah, they're getting a lot of hate over the fact that they aren't encouraging it, the fact that, if you've played PlayStation version of Fortnite, you can't use that same stuff on Switch and stuff. That's terrible, and people are angry about it, but they don't really have a reason to care about it yet, because even though people are angry about it, they're still going to be buying games on their platform, they're still going to be playing those versions on their platform, and as long as they have exclusive versions of those games, they're going to reap profits from people buying stuff in those versions of games. So they don't really have a reason to do it yet until they start seeing some more real competition and threats from Microsoft and Nintendo. Once things start balancing out and people start wanting to buy other systems over them, yeah, they might actually embrace it to be one more cool feature of their system. But for now, they've been just doing so well this generation, they can kind of do what they want as long as people keep buying their stuff. And until that changes, they're just not going to embrace it. Xbox's recent developer acquisition has me excited. Which company's work are you most looking forward to in the future? So when they announced this whole line of new studios they gained, I gotta be honest, a couple of them I was somewhat like, okay, sure, you guys acquired them, because I mean, let's face it, Forza was an Xbox exclusive anyways. They didn't officially own them yet, but we're gonna see more of the same kind of stuff. But as far as like the new interesting studios go, I think the one that stands out the most for me is Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is a dev team that I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship with their games. There's things I really like about them, things that I'm not as big of a fan of, but something they consistently really do is nailing an awesome aesthetic. They always have a certain style that they want to have a game just, instill in their players, and they do a really good job of it. I mean, a really great example and probably the best game they've made so far was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That was an excellent game. Before that, they did do some of the Marvel Infinity games, which we'll just kind of push those aside because that's more of just like fun little stuff. But they did the reboot of Devil May Cry, which they called just DMC, which I wasn't a fan of all the changes in that game, but it was definitely very pretty and was still really fun to play. So yeah, I think that's kind of a hallmark of their stuff. There's always going to be a few things they miss, but when it comes to aesthetic and just style, they just ooze with it. So I want to see what Microsoft has them do with that. I don't know if they're going to have them work with an IP that Microsoft already has. I don't know if they're going to have them just do something entirely new. I'm just very curious what they have in mind. What games are you most looking forward to that were announced at E3, and what games did you expect at E3 but were a no-show? So starting with the ones that were a no-show, especially because there were all those kind of like little leaks that happened ahead of time, I'm really surprised we didn't see Borderlands 3. I think that is something that is still in development and going to happen, but we just didn't get any news about it, which made me a little sad because it's not my favorite franchise in the world, but I always have a lot of fun when those first come out just because I can jump into some co-op with some friends and just run through them. They're just always a fun time for me, so kind of wish we got news on that. As far as stuff that we did see that I'm super excited about, look, there's a lot of easy answers I could give here right now. I feel like a lot of people are just going to be like, oh, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Cyberpunk 2077, basically every game that Sony focused on, and those are all pretty much true. But for kind of side ones, slightly more sleeper hits for me, I was a huge fan of basically everything Capcom announced. Devil May Cry 5 coming back, that is huge for me. I grew up loving that series, and in fact, after the announcement, I replayed 3, 4, and even DMC, so yeah, I'm really happy that's coming. And the Resident Evil 2 remake. I mean, we knew that was happening, but we finally actually saw it and have more news on it, so that's huge. One other game real quick too, that Nintendo showed off at the start of their presentation, Daemon X Machina. I'm a big fan of anything that puts you in control of a giant robot, and one of my favorite old series that did that was Armored Core. And while this isn't technically Armored Core, it's basically a spiritual successor of it. I mean, it's the same project lead, it's the same guy designing the mechs, it just looks faster paced, more colorful, which are all great things, so that is huge for me. What's your opinion on the flattening of Snake's butt in Smash Ultimate? Travesty. Should Microsoft make a handheld or portable console? No, they shouldn't. I don't think so, at least. Especially with how the Xbox One did at the start of this generation, I think they've had the right idea of focusing on making that bigger and better. They worked on the hardware by making the One X, they've improved the OS and software of it, offering more services, and now, most recently with E3, they've shown a commitment to trying to do more first-party games for the system. I think that's the right move, is just focus on that. And if they want to do handheld stuff, They've already kind of hinted at what they want to do, which I think is the right move. It's just focus on bringing all that stuff to handhelds via streaming. You know, don't make your own thing. Instead, just make it so someone can take their phone and stream Xbox games to their phone. I think that's the right way to go. Do you want video game manuals to return? Yes, but also kind of no. Look, manuals served their purpose back in their time, and I love them, but there's kind of a reason we don't have them anymore. I mean, first off, it just kills a ton of paper, but growing up with game manuals, they were so much more than just being like little infographic things. Because back then, first off, games didn't really have tutorials very often, so you really needed the manual to actually tell you what you were even trying to do. But they also served as kind of an old school form of art book. I mean, outside of maybe commercials or promotionals in magazines, that was the only way you could really see a lot of art and stuff and concept work for the games. That was really awesome. But nowadays, I mean, we get actual full-blown art books. We have strategy guides that has art books. We act as, we just have stuff flowing. The internet. We have the internet is really what I was trying to basically say after that, and I just didn't.